Hey everyone, here's a quick video to walk you through how to set up the cameras before service and how to pack them down when the broadcast ends. This will be something new we're doing while we're at our temporary location. It helps us make sure the cameras stay safe and secure while we're away from the venue all week. This process takes about 5 minutes and even a bit longer the first few times you do it, so make sure to arrive early before service to set things up. To get started, come upstairs and grab cameras 1, 2, and 3 from the tower. You can find them in the plastic tote labeled LifePoint Video. If you're by yourself, you may want to use the tote to carry everything down. Let's start with camera 1, which is set up on the tripod directly in front of the sound volunteer. These labels are found on the LCD screens for each camera. This metal lock on the side of the tripod pushes down, which allows the camera shoe to slide in from the side on an angle. Once the camera's in, push the lock so the metal clamps down over the shoe. Tighten the lock until it no longer twists. Try pushing the camera forwards or backwards by applying slight pressure. The camera should not move at all if it's properly secured inside the tripod. Next, we'll plug in the cables. Camera 1 is unique because it has an SDI output for the video signal. The port for this one is found on the front right side of the camera. SDI cables have a twist lock that lines up with a small metal bulge on the port. Line up the cable and push it into the port. Twist the lock until it's fully secured in the metal loop. This loop holds the cable in place and ensures that it stays fully connected even if it gets tugged on. Finally, we'll connect the power cable. When you're plugging the power cable in, make sure it's in the correct port. It's not the bright yellow one, it's the one labeled for DC power. It's a little harder to see, but it's this black port at the back. When the camera is plugged in properly, the LED light indicator will turn on, even if the camera is powered off. Next, camera 2. This camera is right next to camera 1, off-centered and closer to the aisle. This tripod functions exactly like the tripod for camera 1. Secure it in place and tighten the lock so the camera doesn't slide. Next, we'll connect the HDMI cable. You can find that port on the front right side of the camera. Its proper name is actually a mini HDMI port. Once the HDMI cable is connected, go ahead and plug in the power cable. It's exactly the same as camera 1. Just make sure it's in the correct port. Finally, camera 3. This one is up at the front of the sanctuary, and this tripod is a little bit different than the others. The locking knob loosens in a similar way, but the shoe actually slides in from the back of the tripod, like so. You will hear a click once the camera shoe passes the safety latch. Line up the front and back of the shoe with the tripod and tighten the lock nice and snug. Make sure the camera doesn't slide at all while in the tripod. Next, we'll plug in the HDMI cable just like we did with the last camera. And finally, the power cable. Go ahead and power up the cameras as you set them up. You will also need to open the shutter caps by adjusting the slider on the front of the cameras. After powering on, you will be able to see if the power adapter is connected properly. If not, this little battery icon will display with an estimated battery life left. Make sure the power adapter is plugged into the right port. You may need to follow the cable all the way to the outlet to make sure every piece of the adapter is plugged in tightly. After service, start by powering off the cameras and unplugging the video and power cables. Remember that camera 1's SDI cable locks into place, so to disconnect it, push the connection forwards, then twist. If you look closely, you'll see the metal bulge move through the connector. Once it lines up properly, release the pressure on the head and pull the cable out. Remove the cameras from the tripod by loosening that locking knob and sliding the cameras out. With camera 3, you'll need to press an extra knob to release that safety latch. It's found on the left-hand side at the top of the tripod. Hold it down and that'll let you slide the camera out. Leave all the cables and tripods, close the shutter caps, and return the cameras to the plastic tote found up in the tower. And that's how you set up and pack up the cameras. Make sure to watch our other videos to learn more about camera settings and other camera tips to help you volunteer at the best of your abilities.